So it is 11:04, and I commend everybody for making this huge move to the conference room and still only being, 4 minutes late in starting. Thank you, Lauren. Just to kick off, just to ask a question, are we doing minutes today, or are we? It wasn't on the agenda. Or can we do the minutes?
It wasn't on the agenda, so don't vote on them. It wasn't on the agenda, so don't vote on them.
Okay.
So instead, what we'll do for compliance with open meeting laws, we have the minutes. They're in draft form. We'll note that they're in draft form and post them on the website showing that they are just draft. Once they get voted in, we'll just change the header or whatever and show that they've been approved. But no, don't take.
Do we have Copilot?
We don't. No.
we-
What we've been
Copilot.
doing, I think, Lauren, you've been downloading the transcription and like running it through ChatGPT or something, right?
Okay.
Try
That
that.
makes things easier.
It's
I'm gonna do that. Okay. I never take
So-
minutes for my nonprofit. I just,
Gina, I am clerk of the planning board, and I just go into meetings and say, "Hi, Lauren," and Lauren. I haven't taken a single note this year. Since
I know
retired.
my previous president, she used to do all, they were so good, and the secretary, and they're doing all the stuff. Now I'm like, whatever, I don't even
And I
call the
sucked.
meeting
I
order.
really was awful at doing minutes. So, okay. So I do have a couple questions on those, but those can hold till the end of the meeting. So the first thing on the agenda was the planner's report.
Yeah, I didn't prepare a written report that I passed out, but and what else we have? We can talk about 28 Hartford Ave North on the
Okay.
agenda. Correct? I think I put that on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, that's on the agenda. Okay.
And then
So
we
there's
have
no
the
planner's report. We can talk about that later. Our treasurer is on a plane, so I don't believe we have a treasurer's report. Did he provide anything in advance?
he didn't know.
Okay, so we can skip over that one. Okay. Does anyone have any questions, or am I moving too fast for everybody?
It's fine.
Okay. So the next one is to vote to approve declaration of trust. And did everyone look at the document that was sent out?
Yep.
Okay. I had a couple questions. Did anyone else have any questions?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. My questions were mostly like, let me see if I can, my computer is still a little bit glitchy. Come on, you stupid thing. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just one thing that should be changed, and it should be changed in minutes and everything else, is it's probably better to use my formal name, which is Catherine, Katherine, because I noticed that I think that, we had to redo a document because my name was, I don't know what the problem was with that, but it's probably
That one
just
was
better
the,
in the official
the
document
type.
that I'm Catherine. And let's see, I did have a question about, there seemed to be, I just turned off my phone, I think. There seemed to be an interchangeable use of the term board and trust. And I was looking specific, is there a reason for that, or?
I'm not sure. I'll ask the attorney. It could just be if they're referring to this entity, they should probably be using the term trust and not board. But I'll double check and confirm that that's the case.
Yeah, I was noticing it particularly in Article 5th, where it talks about, at the beginning, it talks about undertaking, actions, undertaking relative to trust property as the trust deem advisable. And then, and it goes on like that. And then, as a trust deems advisable to apportion receipts and change between income and principal as the board deems advisable. And then from then on down, the term board was used and not trust, and then it goes back to trust. So if you could just have council look at that.
Yeah.
And then, because, you know, if we do a legal document, and other than that, if other people don't have questions, I'm comfortable with with asking for a motion to, oh, I did have one more question, I'm sorry. This is something that town meeting has already voted on, correct? Like a long time ago?
The creation of and the establishment of the trust, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll double check that town meeting doesn't need to authorize this document before it being, but I don't, that was certainly not conveyed to me by town council that this needed to be on town meeting, but I'll double check that we're in order. And we're not preempting town meeting in any way.
Okay. So what exactly are we doing today?
Yeah, and so I think I figured I'd get that question. When town council was reviewing the materials for 20 Hartford Ave North and going back and forth with Habitat, with the LDA, they noticed that there was never a trust recorded with the Registry of Deeds. And I asked that question to council, asking, hey, why are we doing this now? Right? Why does this need to be done now if it hasn't been done? Or I should say, I asked the question, why does this need to be done? And the answer to that question is because it needs to be done so that the trust is an entity that can both convey and receive property. Now, clearly, you've already done that.
Yeah.
So this is just, it seems like it's just something that was missed.
So this was never done. There was never a declaration of trust with all these, you know, provisions in it that was ever officially adopted. So in essence, trust does not exist.
As an entity that, I don't know, with fiduciary, you know what I mean? Like it's not incorporated in that way. It's always been a board. It's been more of a board, if you want to think of it, and to go back to the earlier comments of board versus trust. It's been acting more of a board in that capacity. You know, it has. You've been requesting funds through CPC. There's accounts that are set up to go into the trust account, but it seems to me like it was probably an oversight to accept 28, and I'm not an attorney, obviously, but given the fact that this trust, the declaration of trust needs to be signed and then recorded, it seems to me that 28 Hartford Ave North probably should never have been put into the Affordable Housing Trust name as an owner if it can't own property.
And so this didn't happen with the town meeting vote that established the trust?
I guess not. And if it did, it was never recorded or signed and recorded because we couldn't find any version of this anywhere. I worked with Denise in the clerk's office to say, hey, you guys were incorporated in 2018 or something, you know, does this exist somewhere and we're just missing it? Was it signed and submitted to the clerk's office, or was it in the manager's office and just never made its way to the registry or something like that? We couldn't locate anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is if this is a question of whether we even exist, or if this is a question of whether it was ever registered. It's like if the baby is born, it's born, but if you don't have a birth certificate, that's more of a paperwork error. And I'm just trying to figure out what this problem is.
I mean, council wasn't like super alarmed. So I think it's more of an oversight, paperwork error than it is a catastrophic, you don't exist and you shouldn't have been doing anything all along type of error. I don't think it's that, because the town meeting voted to create the trust. You have a controlling law that's in your town charter that shows that the trust exists and details your powers within it relative to the select board, and grants you as such. So I don't think you've been acting inappropriately or outside the bounds of anything. It's just a matter of you need to be established within the registry in order to convey and receive property.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that?
It's a bit disconcerting, I have to say.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
say the
it's
least.
very, everything about
And
the
I-
Affordable Housing Trust, quite frankly, has been disconcerting.
Well, that's true. Yes,
It's
that's
sort of
true.
like, no one seemed to, everyone here is new, so I'll say it at a public meeting, but it's sort of like it was voted and then it seemed that nobody knew what to do with it because there's just been so many glitches with it. So,
And this question, if I may, this question came up like a year or so ago with our former regional housing coordinator, because I was on a call with her in Berlin. I was just there as like reference. I was like, sure, I'll dial into Berlin's Affordable Housing Trust because they were just getting it up and running. Even though I'm no Affordable Housing Trust expert, I'll if I can answer any questions, I'll certainly try. And so a question of the declaration of trust came up, and it was my assumption that we had it done, but it was also conveyed to me prior to that, and I forget who I was speaking with or what capacity they were, but it was indicated to me that because town meeting put in to the bylaw, the Affordable Housing Trust, like I was just commenting on, and describing your powers and duties, that is the establishment of the trust. But
that's kind of
that's-
what I always operated under the assumption of.
yeah, and so we were both going off of the same thing, but I think the difference is that establishes the ability for you to meet and take action on certain things. But I think it's just the matter of formally submitting this declaration of trust paperwork to the registry because of what the registry does with
Okay.
land.
Can I ask one more question? And I should have checked this before the meeting. Does the original town meeting vote and the bylaws, do they protect board members from liability in case something happens? I do know that the document that we have before us today offers, basically says that you're the board members basically aren't liable. The town, we're agents of the state or whatever. And as such, if someone sues us, they can't sue us personally. And
Right.
I'm just wondering if that provision exists in what was approved by town meeting. I'm pretty sure it was, because I know years ago when I looked over that I was comfortable that someone couldn't come knocking at my door and suing me, but I just think it would be great to double check on that.
Sure, I'll look into that, but I mean, it's certainly not like written into the Affordable Housing Trust set bylaw, right? I don't recall seeing that in your bylaw, but I think that likely exists elsewhere as because I'm sure the town does that, has some sort of blanket. Again, I'm speaking out of turn because it's not necessarily my world, but my assumption is that the town has everybody covered under boards for official town business. But
That's correct,
I'll
but we're a
verify.
trust, so we're not a board. That's the problem.
That's the difference, yeah, okay.
So if you could check on that and if you could make that kind of a priority just for my peace of mind.
Yes,
And, because if it's not the case, I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants to stay on the trust until they're protected. I know I
Yeah.
would. Okay. So any other questions?
These are pretty important questions.
So then I guess the next question is, what are we being asked to vote it today? To approve the declaration of trust, or which is a document of itself that sole purpose is to be submitted to the Register of Deeds?
yes, that need to vote on endorsing that document so that it can be registered.
Can we register it without being registered ourselves as a trust?
It's the trust. It's the declaration of trust, basically, and let me go back to the beginning of it. It basically says that we're taking the vote. It says, whereas the town of Upton adopted and an accompanying bylaw that established the Upton Affordable Trust.
Okay,
And then
sorry.
the second is the Affordable Housing Trust desires to record a declaration of trust, which sets forth all the authority so granted by the general laws and general bylaw as adopted. And then it comes to us, it says, now therefore, this this declaration of trust is made of this day, 2005, by the undersigned, Jeannie Brooks, Brian Gallagher, Gina Garachi, Maureen Dwinell, and Kathy, that should be changed to Catherine Robertson, each a trustee and collectively the trustees, And so, and agree for themselves and their successors to hold all property of the Upton of the airport together with such property. Yeah, I mean, it basically is establishing, it's asking us to record a declaration of trust.
Yeah.
And then the name, I think, is the name of the trust, the purpose of the trust, the composition of the trustees.
So does that answer the question? I'm confused. That sounds to me as if that's what we actually recording the trust with the registry of deeds. So I'm getting confused here.
I'm just paranoid, that's all.
I'm gonna email town council right now.
You don't be paranoid.
If, cross my fingers that they're available to just jump on a call right now,
Yeah.
but I'll take my chances.
But if they're not, while you're doing that, I think it's imperative that we, make a motion to record a declaration of trust, which sets forth the authority. I mean, I guess the motion would read pursuant to the authority under general laws, chapter 44, section 55C, the Affordable Housing Trust votes, someone's going to make a motion, votes to record or authorizes the recording of a declaration of trust. I think that's sort of, and I think it's imperative we do that because if it hasn't been done, it needs to be done.
All right, I just sent off an email, so I'll give him a couple minutes.
Okay. I mean, does that
Either
make sense?
right now he can or he's not. So.
Hmm.
And Gina, you're not. That's your full name, right? You're not Regina.
No, I'm Gina. Yeah,
And is that your correct last name? Because I know you have sort of,
that's my real last name.
okay,
My Facebook last name's not real. Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I wasn't being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. People think my last name's McFadden, but it's not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do the fake Facebook thing.
It's
Yeah.
my husband's last name. Yeah. No, my name's Gerasi.
Yeah.
That way, people can't find you from. Way
That
back
is true.
when.
When I start arguing about politics, yeah, they can't.
But everyone knows where you are. They can track you down.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So,
Jeannie, by the way, in case anybody's wondering.
Well, I know that's a full name. It's not short for anything.
I'm just going to be 76 on Friday. I've been
Oh.
dealing with this my entire life.
Oh, happy pre-birthday.
Thank you. I don't have a middle name. I go fig. It's hard not having a first name that nobody's ever heard of.
Oh, I've met Jeannies.
Unless you happen to be Scots. The most people I've met who are Jeannie, that's not their real name. I've met one other real Jeannie in my entire life.
She might have been Scottish. I forget, but yeah, no,
What's the
I've met
Scottish name?
Jeannies.
yeah, I'm Scottish, so my family tree is loaded up with genies.
Oh, Robertson, yes, of course you are.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. And then, the other thing, and I don't know if we need to put this into the motion, but I don't think we do, but let me know if you think we need to put this in any motion, of whether we should add upon approval of town meeting. I mean, my assumption is the town meeting already adopted this and this is paperwork, so I don't think we need to go back to them.
Yeah, I wouldn't complicate it. Either we're missing something, which I don't think we are, and if we are missing something, just go do it at town meeting anyway.
Okay.
We don't need to work it here.
Well, I would like to get this recorded like today.
Yeah.
So I would prefer not to go before town meeting, which isn't going to be until May. So
Yeah.
if we can just vote on this today and get it in there, it would
Yeah.
make my soul very, very happy. So, while we're, is it okay with people if we sort of put this on hold and go to the next item on the agenda, which is what's going on with 28 Hartford Avenue North?
Yeah, so in essence, this is what's going on with, in a way, because we do need to get this done. But what was encouraging is that Paul Rubello, I guess that's his name, at Habitat, was in my office 2 weeks ago, trying to figure out everything he needs to do in order to pull a demolition permit. And so they're gearing up to get ready to finally make moves on it so we can get that underway. Unfortunately, they had tried to, as Kathy, you were alluding to earlier, they tried to record the land development agreement, and the registry noticed that your title as chair was different in two different places. It said I forget what it said. In one place it said Affordable Housing Trust Chair, and then the other one it might have just said chair or something. I don't know. But it was inconsistent, so they wouldn't accept it. So we had to. That's why I had you sign another. And so they have not let me know that when the town meeting was. What? Not last week? I'm losing time.
It was last
Yeah, there was a special last week, but this wasn't part of that. Yeah.
No, but I had you sign.
Oh,
Yeah. Like the very next day. And so
Yeah, that was
I then immediately.
last Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I then
November
immediately.
4th, this town meeting.
Okay. Well, either way, so I had you re-sign the amendment to the trust, to the land development agreement. And as soon as I got your signature on that, I drove it to Habitat so that they could have it recorded. I haven't heard from them that they've recorded it yet, but I will follow up with them.
Okay.
And my hope is that we can get this declaration of trust executed and recorded so that no other issues arise relative to that stuff, because it's been quite a whirlwind of issues.
Okay.
We'll do a complete post-mortem on this thing once they finally have a building permit and a shovel in the ground to figure out. Just go over everything that went wrong and why it took so long this time around. The hope is that, I mean, this really being the very first project from the trust, by going through all these issues this time around, hopefully we won't run in, well, we will not run into the same exact issues next time around when taking care, going through another project, right? We won't have to endorse a declaration of trust. Hopefully we get land development agreements that have consistency in them, that are prepared by council. And what else? I mean, this one's been, I want to say this one's been challenged, probably more challenging just due to the history of the property and the transition of title, right? So, getting a hold of documents that were relative to this property was difficult initially too, because we didn't have copies of surveys and things that were done in the past. Fortunately, we were able to get a hold of those copies with the help of Habitat, because they were working with the town before to get them. So that helped out. Anyway, I'm starting to go through the whole process again right now in my mind, but yeah, I think, but where we are currently with 28 Hartford Ave North is it's in Habitat's hands. I'm hopeful that they can begin some sort of work this year it'll be a celebration when they're able to start knocking it down. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyone have any questions on Hartford Avenue North?
Glad to see the back of.
But really, just to put a pin in that, It's just this paperwork right now that we're trying to get
Hmm.
complete, and it's completely on Habitat to go ahead and knock it down. They still have to go through the NOI process with Concom to build house, but they'll have no issue with that.
But they've started it, correct?
Yes, they did.
Okay, yeah, okay, okay. Okay. Do you know if they're on the agenda for tonight?
Oh, Lauren, do you know? I can look.
Yeah, I don't think they are. Because the Warren Street Beavers are on the agenda for tonight,
Oh,
but,
I know it was discussed.
yeah.
okay. And then the other thing, Mike, is to, sort of provide a quick update on, what is it? It is 42 Main Street, which is kind of a 45 Milford Street, which was kind of a surprise, I think, for everybody.
Yep. So what happened with that, I think I sent out emails to everybody sort of when this was initially starting. If I left anybody out, I apologize. Just because I was trying to keep planning board up to date, as well as the zoning board, as well as the select board through Dennis. To rewind and go back to 47 Main Street, which is the 40B with the 60 units that was approved last year, in August, technically. It was, they had filed the year before for that 40B. So that was approved in August of 2024. The 60 units was large enough that we were able to capitalize on that and get the town into what is referred to as safe harbor status, meaning developers can't file new 40Bs in town for 2 years. We got a 2-year safe harbor
What
status.
we thought was 2 years.
We thought it was 2 years. It was 2 years.
Okay.
It was. And the caveat to those 2 years, which I was unaware of, which the developer was certainly not unaware of, which is they have to pull building permits within 12 months of getting that approval for the comprehensive permit back in August. So August 2024, they got their approval through zoning board. That then started a clock that I was unaware of that said 12 months from then, they need to pull a building permit on that property. And when and if they do that, that firms or confirms the 2-year safe harbor status. What I was unaware of is that by not pulling those building permits, they effectively ended the town's safe harbor status. So by not pulling building permits 12 months after they got their 40B comprehensive permit through the zoning board, the town was taken out of safe harbor status, which enabled them it is the same developer, I'm not speaking out of turn, enabled that same developer to then file a new 40B with the state. Technically, they have not filed it with us yet, but it is coming. They filed with the state, with Mass Housing, to get their project eligibility determination through Mass Housing. What that is just that, like, it's this preliminary process through the state that gives them basically a ticket to hand to the town, say, I'm now approved by the state to be able to file a 40B in your town. So that's the process they're doing right now to get that ticket, that project eligibility determination from the state. So they are doing that. I expect to have a actual application filed with the zoning board as early as next month, I would say. Right now, the select board has the opportunity to submit comments to Mass Housing as a part of that project eligibility determination that the state is doing. I'm not sure if the select board is going to submit comments or not, but I'll be in attendance at their next meeting on the 18th in order to talk to them about that. I've gotten, other boards have commented and some have not as to what they would like the select board to comment on if they submit comments. So I would suggest to the trust, if you have comments about this filing and the proposal of any kind, it's, like I said, the phase right now is project eligibility. It's a site assessment more than anything. So what the state is really looking at is, in order to issue that ticket, they're going to say they want to look at the site and make sure that the site is an appropriate location for housing. You can imagine the being recorded, but it's a low bar that the state looks at in order to give those out, right? I use the example of, well, they might not issue it to a site that's located right next to some like noxious industrial use, but that's happened before too. So.
Yeah, I always thought that the wetlands were a challenge on that site because I thought that was a water resource area. But just in case folks did not read the sort of the notice that's sent out, and I didn't read it at first either. So, the project itself is relatively, in my opinion, it's unfortunate because it is townhouse units, I believe, which means they're not, I think, what is it, 1 out of 6 are affordable?
It's
And
27 units right now, and so it's gonna be 6 or 7 units that will be affordable.
Right, and they don't, unlike an apartment complex or rental properties, only those units will go on the, affordable, the inventory. So it really doesn't do anything in, it creates a couple more units of affordable housing, but not much. And it is home ownership opportunity, but it's still deed restricted rather than rental. So it's personally speaking, and I know that, people that live there will, probably disagree. It's right on Main Street. And, this, I haven't seen any schematics or anything, but, putting a 28 unit, 27 unit apartment building as opposed to, fairly substantial townhouses. It was at 5.6 acres or something, Mike? Oh, okay, I haven't seen this. So it is a,
So anyway, but that's still, their permit for that site is still good. If
yeah,
they run past those 2 years, they have the opportunity to extend it. I don't believe the town really has any ability to deny extending those permits when requested.
So as far as you can tell, they still intend to build there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah,
And what you said about 45 Milford Street, Catherine, I take your point, but that said, 6 out of 27 units is affordable is pretty good percentage. I know it's not all of them,
Yeah.
but it's still a good percentage of what he's building.
it's better than nothing, but, just looking at the inventory, and again, it's home ownership opportunities as opposed to rental, which is a whole different ballgame. But, again, totally personally speaking, not speaking for anyone else, I just, we just need affordable housing. But, and again, just as a follow-up, Mike, when I talk to you, once they pull the building permits, I always will call it the site behind Pickering's. The safe harbor will be re-established, but only for like a limited time, correct?
yeah, it'll for that continuation of the 2 years, it'll be locked in. It actually might be 18 months at that time. I'll double check. But it's at least the 12 months that that are now disconnected. It'll be the completion of the 2 years, so another 12 months, but it might actually be 18 months. I'll double check that.
So we might get another 6 months shoved on the end of it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Does anyone have any questions particularly on this project?
Which one?
The,
Sorry.
The Milford Street?
Oh,
This,
45
yeah, this
Milford
is
Street?
for looking
Yeah,
at. I
yeah.
got the renderings up.
no, I mean, I take your point, but I'd still rather see 6 affordable units that are available for ownership than none at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So I take what we can get.
Pick what we- Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
They
Okay.
can afford.
So Mike, did you hear anything from the, from a council?
Let me look and bring up my email. No.
Okay.
I have to drop really soon.
Yeah, no, I do too. So just real quick, do we want to, make a motion, pursuant to authority under general law, chapter 44, section 55C, the Affordable Housing Trust, votes to record a declaration of trust, which sets forth all the authority so granted by both the general laws and the general bylaw as so adopted. Mike, does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a
I hear
motion.
a motion. So,
Okay, second?
go ahead, Gina.
All right, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we're gonna have to roll call because this is video. So Gina,
Yep, Gina, here.
Jeannie,
Aye.
and Kathy as I. So that's unanimous of those in attendance. Okay, so that's done. If you can get back to us, Mike, once you follow up. And
Yep.
Gina, can you stay on for a couple minutes? I just have a couple questions, not technically about the minutes, except to change my name to Catherine. But I was looking over the minutes and there were a couple things, especially looking at our last conversation, that we had talked about doing, but then this was before the times of Lauren. So, maybe we can get moving on them. But some of the things we had talked about was to, we had a list of actions, which is to, compile a list of available properties, to reach out to, to Mass Housing Partnership about, helping us identify and, find a place to build and, help us out with the process. And I was just wondering if those had ever been done or if those something that, Lauren could kickstart. The other thing that was we had talked about doing, and I've heard nothing on it, is we had voted, I do believe on the June 10th, it was recorded in the June 10th meetings, to fund a shared housing coordinator, I think with CMRPC, but I haven't heard anything from
They
them
don't have
since.
one.
I don't know if they've been working, if we paid anything, if they've been doing anything, if,
Where that left off is, we paid what we owed for the previous housing coordinator position and under that contract. And that was
but we didn't pay them
prorated.
for the second half of it, correct?
What was that? Sorry.
We did not pay them for the full contract because in essence, they were talking about someone else informally adding that to their, existing
Correct.
duties. So we paid half of the existing one. And then.
Yeah, so that contract's all set and that's all said and done. They had since been looking to try to fill that spot, but they have not found anybody.
Okay, so we haven't incurred any other expenses for CMRPC.
Nope.
Okay. And is it possible, now that Lauren's been there for like 25 years, that we can start looking at really stepping up our focus on affordable housing? Or is that still beyond her? I mean, you got a lot on your plate, so I'm not expecting this, but we do have to move on this stuff.
Well, I mean, we didn't put it, I probably didn't think to put anything on for this agenda just because it was more focused on just the necessity for getting the declaration of trust.
Okay.
But after Lauren started, I think you were present for one of the housing trust meetings, right? That we then talked about that the town-owned parcels and potentially, then wrapping in mass housing once we've identified a parcel. But you've gone through all the parcels and like
Okay,
Yeah,
You have some material to present on that, I think, at some point, right?
yeah, I have a spreadsheet of all the town owned parcels and then separated them by use. So
Okay.
what's classified as vacant and things like that, and what's conservation land.
Okay.
And I'm getting it displayed on a map, so it's easier to figure out where everything is.
Okay.
Um,
I don't want to push you to, because it wasn't on the agenda. I was just following up on the minutes because I reviewed the minutes to make sure, and I noted we talked about this stuff happening, and it would be great if, and I didn't mean to interrupt, I just don't want you to be put on the spot like this. If we could bring it up at the next meeting to follow up on the action items that were brought up at the June 10th meeting, which includes what Lauren was talking about. It also talked about the Pleasant Woods land trade with, what they've been talking about now for 3 years. So we could build some units there. So if we could just do at the next, if we could add to the agenda, so the update on the action items that were voted for in June, that would be great.
Yeah, I think, and if you don't want to establish a next meeting date now, we can just follow up through email on doing that, and then we can work to make the agenda on that to get these things on.
Do you think there's going to be any more board action required for Hartford Ave?
I hope not.
Okay. Why don't we give it a couple weeks to see if we're going to have to meet for them? And if not, we'll just schedule a meeting. Does that make sense to members?
Yeah,
You mean hold off to make sure there's not gonna be any pressing concern that needs to be addressed?
Okay. Gina, when are you heading out again? Are you sticking around for the holidays or are you going away? I mean, Jeannie.
me.
Yeah,
Me?
you-
Yep. Yeah, Jeannie, you're the world
Obviously, I
traveler.
have no idea. It all depends what's going on back in
Okay.
England. Just,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Alrighty.
I hope not, but,
Any other thing people need to discuss, or am I the only mouthy one on this call? Okay. Do I hear a
It's all-
motion?
useful actually. Sounds really-
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay.
Jeannie?
Yeah,
I'll
second
second.
it. Oh, yes, aye.
So moved and seconded.
Okay.
So Gina, how do you vote?
Who, me? Aye.
Jeannie?
Yeah,
Aye,
aye.
okay. Okay. And Kathy, A, unanimous. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Okay, folks, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.